Is press freedom under fire? The government's energy stewardship questioned, and 2 new divisions already opened for business. Good evening, I am Kristen Zalandi and you're locked into the Tobago Updates television news for Tuesday, 4th of March, 2026. Now to our top story. A growing legal controversy is raising alarms over the future of independent reporting in Trinidad and Tobago. Critics say the latest state of emergency regulations contain a muzzle clause that could put journalists in the crosshairs for simply doing their jobs. Jewel Green George reports.
The Fourth Estate is facing a potential legal blockade. Under Section 11 of the new State of Emergency Regulations, any attempt to influence public opinion in a way deemed prejudicial to public safety is now a restricted act. Tobago Business Chamber President and Attorney Martin George warns this isn't just about individual speech. It's a direct threat to the press.
It also may have broader and wider implications for freedom of the press, in the sense that if it is that a media house or a newspaper article or a newspaper editorial, maybe, disagrees with this and, probably publishes something that, chastises, the government or, for, maybe this very provision or for some other, act or, inaction, then could it be said that that is prejudicial to public safety?
The lack of clear definitions is the primary concern. Without specific boundaries, a critical editorial or broadcast report questioning government strategy could theoretically be classified as a threat to national stability. George argues the regulations lack the necessary guardrails to protect journalists from arbitrary enforcement.
How do you limit this in the sense of saying, well, okay, what is likely to be prejudicial to public safety? And who makes that final determination? Is it the Commissioner of Police? Is it the Minister of National Security? And where is the limit to it?
The current climate follows recent high-profile uses of the Sedition Act, including the case against Canadian vlogger late last year. George notes that while the Sedition Act is already seen as inadequate, these new SOE measures are even more vaguely worded, leaving the media in a precarious position.
So it would seem that, this ought to have been refined and defined and circumscribed in a manner such that it does not appear to be not just impinging upon and infringing upon individual freedom of expression, but also the broader topic of freedom of the press.
As the SOE continues, the call for legislative clarity grows louder. Without it, the line in between public safety and state censorship remains dangerously thin. Jewel Green George, Tobago Updates Television News.
Ongoing tensions in the Middle East, particularly involving Qatar, have created significant uncertainty within the global energy market. As one of the world's leading LNG exporters, Qatar plays a critical role in supplying natural gas to Europe, Asia, and beyond. Any disruption or instability in that region can quickly trigger price volatility and supply concerns worldwide, directly impacting energy-dependent economies like Trinidad and Tobago. Here are the details.
Stuart Young, Senior Counsel and MP for Port of Spain South, St. Anne's West, stated that Atlantic LNG is now operating a 3-train liquefied natural gas facility. He credited the People's National Movement administration for 5 years of intricate negotiation, culminating in a landmark December 2023 agreement that successfully restructured the company's shareholding and operational framework.
Atlantic LNG, which is a now a 3-train facility producing liquefied natural gas. Fortunately for Trinidad and Tobago, the PNM administration spent 5 long, hard years in very complex commercial negotiations, culminating in December of 2023, where for the first time in the world, it was a global achievement, the PNM administration managed to restructure the shareholding and the arrangements of an LNG facility. And that was achieved in December 2023. And
he explained that the country's LNG sector is now positioned to secure improved prices following the successful renegotiation of shareholding agreements in trains 2 and 3. Previously, Trinidad and Tobago held no equity or cargo entitlement in those units. However, the revised agreement now grants the nation a 10% ownership stake.
So our LNG prices, we will get better prices. We also managed to restructure and renegotiate shareholding in trains 2 and 3, where the people of Trinidad and Tobago previously had absolutely no shareholding. And in addition to that, to get cargoes from trains 2 and 3 and 4. So we now have a 10% shareholding.
He argued that since taking office last year, the United National Congress has demonstrated limited understanding of the energy sector, raising concerns about the country's direction. However, major stakeholders such as Shell plc and BPTT, each holding 45% of the Atlantic LNG, would be unlikely to jeopardize national safety.
The UNC government has shown consistently since last year, when they've taken over the government, that they know nothing about the energy sector. And now this is just another example where they may be driving us into a dangerous place. But fortunately, the professionals and the major shareholders who too will want to benefit, Shell is the largest trader of LNG in the world, and then BP as well, who will benefit. Both of them have 45% in Atlantic LNG. They will not compromise and should not compromise the safety of the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
He emphasized that despite political uncertainty, strong agreements and experienced international stakeholders provided reassurance that Trinidad and Tobago energy sector will remain stable, safeguarding both national interests and public safety. This is Aliyah Balgobin reporting for Tobago Updates Television News.
The Tobago House of Assembly, according to Chief Secretary Fali Augustine, has already moved forward with its restructured divisions. Augustine, during Sunday's press briefing, says the newly established divisions are already functional and serving the public. Jewel Green George has the details on what this means for administrative efficiency on the island.
Operations are officially underway for the Division of Legal Affairs and the Division of Strategic Planning and Development. The move follows a recent realignment aimed at streamlining THE services. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine confirms that while the formal announcement is recent, the legal framework allowed work to begin immediately.
Based on the law, once I pronounce it, those divisions start their work. So it's just administrative work that's happening to ensure that the wheels are turning as they would in other divisions.
Strategic planning, led by Secretary Trevor James, and legal affairs under Councillor Adana Joseph Wallace are now focusing on internal logistics. The administration says these departments are not just theoretical. They are already interacting with the community.
I'm sure you may or may not have seen that the Secretary for Strategic Planning and Development, he had a public day last week. So they have started having public days, which tells you that they are already up and running.
Public days are a staple of the THE's governance model, allowing residents direct access to secretaries to discuss concerns. To provide more clarity on the transition, the heads of these new portfolios are expected to face the media later this week.
But I will have them come and do a full status report in terms of where they're at.
That full briefing is scheduled for Thursday. It will likely cover costing, budget allocations, and specific policy goals for the remainder of the fiscal year. Jewel Green George, Tobago Updates Television News.
Up next, the ocean is taking Tobago's land and THA is fighting back.
TL Promotion presents Laugh and Live this Good Friday, 7 p.m. It's non-stop laughter at Bertrude Legacy Park, Lowlands. Special guest from Jamaica, Mr. Funny himself, Owen Blacker Ellis. From Trinidad, Rising Comics, Alan the Entertainer, and Son Son. And from Tobago, amateur comic, Bishop Terence Baines. Listen, this is a laughing matter. Get your tickets now at Den's Electronics, 2nd floor, Port Mall, Scarborough. An Island e-tickets or call 685-1988. At the door, you will pay more. It's gonna be a family affair. Laughter is good for the soul, whether you're young or you're old. So get your tickets now. You can't afford to miss it. Add some laughter to your Easter.
Tobago, it's Carnival. The Vibe, the event space formerly known as Shade, for the court Tobago, says, let's celebrate Carnival. Bring your coolers every Friday and Saturday, starting from Friday the 30th of January till Carnival week, and pay $50 at the door with your cooler all night. No ice, no chaser allowed. Top DJ and artists passing through every Friday and Saturday. To pre-book your cabanas, call 369-6414 and 394-3612 or email iwamg@gmail.com. And this promotion is going on until Easter. Gates open at 9 p.m. It's rum, it's bacchanal. Bring your coolers and come.
Been down this road before. All that left is rum and bacchanal. This is Carnival.
Coming up, another show-stopping performance from the Republic Bank Exodus Steel Orchestra as Antigua and Barbuda got ready for its own fiesta of color and energy. New ideas for Tobago tourism delivered at the Youth Congress. This highly rated property fits in perfectly with the vacation offerings of St. Kitts and Nevis, where the future of travel was laid out. It's all next on this station.
Thanks for staying with us. The Tobago House of Assembly is sounding the alarm on a $1 billion threat to our eastern coastline. Chief Secretary Farley Augustine says the island can no longer afford to wait while the ocean claims our land. We have the details on this report.
Tobago's windward coast is under siege. From Richmond to Speyside, rising sea levels are eating away at the very foundations of our communities. For years, the conversations have been about conservation, but the Chief Secretary says the time for passive observation has passed.
I did say on the campaign trail that I will not be holding back Tobago's development for anybody and any agency. And I meant that, right?
The geography of our island leaves little room for error. Most residents are caught in the narrow strip between the Main Ridge Mountains and the encroaching Caribbean Sea. Recent assessments show the Atlantic side is particularly vulnerable to coastal erosion, a problem exacerbated by intensifying storm surges.
The sea has been taking the lands from us, and we have been doing nothing in fighting back against the ocean taking the lands from us. There will be requirements for us to take steps in terms of land reclamation.
Fighting back comes with a heavy price tag. Following a 2022 visit by the Caribbean Development Bank, experts estimated the cost of securing the windward coastline at over $1 billion. This includes building seawalls and implementing large-scale land reclamation to provide space for housing and business.
We brought the Caribbean Development Bank here in about 2022. They estimated that I will need about $1 billion just to fix the Windward coastline. And so the response to the environment cannot be to do nothing. Because if we do nothing, we'll end up with nowhere to live and work.
The THA is now looking at funding models to start these critical infrastructure projects. For Tobago Updates Television News, I'm Jewel Green George.
Legal expert Martin George is calling for greater precision in the latest state of emergency regulations. George argues that the current language lacks the necessary clarity, specifically regarding what constitutes as an act, quote, prejudicial to public safety, end quote, and is urging authorities to provide concrete definitions to avoid ambiguity. He suggests that the current ambiguity may be causing public unease as citizens are unsure how these provisions might affect their rights.
There's been particular focus on the aspect which appears to try to limit or put a muzzle on freedom of expression. And that is the section which says at Section 11, no person shall endeavor, whether orally or otherwise, to influence public opinion in a manner likely to be prejudicial to public safety.
The lack of clarity, he warns, could have broader consequences beyond individual freedoms, potentially impacting freedom of expression at large and even press operations.
Under this legislation, these SOU regulations, it appears to be very vaguely worded so that it can encompass a wide range of actions or inactions as things which are considered prejudicial to public safety. So it would seem that, this ought to have been refined and defined and circumscribed.
By providing explicit explanations or illustrative scenarios, the regulations could better guide both authorities and the public, reducing uncertainty and ensuring that enforcement does not unintentionally infringe on fundamental democratic rights. Commuters navigating Tobago's southwest tip are facing a transformed landscape this week. A massive road restoration project is now entering its final phase on the main road. Here's more from Jewel Green George.
The Division of Public Infrastructure and Transportation, headed by Secretary Natisha Charles Pantin, launched the exercise last Thursday. Work stretches from the Coliseum in Crown Point to the Rockley Vale intersection. This corridor serves as the primary artery for tourists as well as locals leaving or heading to the airport. Crews are working to overhaul the surface heading toward the Claude Noel Highway. The division says the project is necessary to provide a safer island commute. For years, motorists have asked for smoother surfaces along this high-traffic stretch. This 11-day blitz aims to address those concerns before the next rainy season. Officials are urging drivers to remain vigilant while passing through active work zones. The project is currently on schedule to wrap up on International Women's Day on Sunday, March 8th. However, the final timeline depends entirely on favorable weather conditions. Although the division has apologized for the inevitable delays and thanks the public for their cooperation, the real test will come at peak hours on Monday morning, when Tobago drivers take to the streets. As the weekend approaches, residents should plan for extra travel time near the capital. For Tobago Updates Television News, I'm Jewel Green George.
The news will continue in a moment, but why wait? You can follow every story, every update, all the time. Join the conversation and find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Tobago Updates. Don't miss a beat. We'll be right back.
Coming up, another show-stopping performance from the Republic Bank Exodus Steel Orchestra as Antigua and Barbuda got ready for its own fiesta of color and energy. New ideas for Tobago tourism delivered at the Youth Congress. This highly rated property fits in perfectly with the vacation offerings of St. Kitts and Nevis, where the future of travel was laid out. It's all next on this station.
TL Promotion presents Laugh and Live this Good Friday, 7 p.m. It's non-stop laughter at Bertrude Legacy Park, Lowlands. Special guest from Jamaica, Mr. Funny himself, Owen Blacker Ellis. From Trinidad, Rising Comics, Alan the Entertainer, and Son. And from Tobago, amateur comic, Bishop Terence Baines. Listen, this is a laughing matter. Get your tickets now at Den's Electronics, 2nd floor, Port Mall, Scarborough. An Island e-tickets or call 685-1988. At the door, you will pay more. It's gonna be a family affair. Laughter is good for the soul, whether you're young or you're old. So get your tickets now. You can't afford to miss it. Add some laughter to your Easter.
Welcome back. The Tobago Football Association TFA Premier Division continued in electrifying fashion last evening at the Mount Grace Recreational Grounds, serving up a dramatic doubleheader for fans. In the opening contest, FC Goodwood and Blackrock FC battled to a hard-fought 1-all draw. Ruel Waldrop put FC Goodwood ahead with a well-taken finish, giving his side the early advantage. However, Blackrock FC responded through Trevor Allen, who found the equalizer to ensure both teams walked away with a point after an evenly contested encounter. The second match proved far more one-sided as Golden Lane FC delivered a ruthless attacking display against Hills United. Kwanzi Sylvester, Hale Farrell, Jayon Quash, and Odell Larriere were all among the scorers as Golden Lane overwhelmed their opponents from start to finish. With sharp movements, clinical finishing, and relentless pressure, Golden Lane piled on the goals to secure a commanding 9-0 victory. The results shake up the Premier Division standings as the competition continues to intensify, with teams eager to stake their claim in the race for the title. High-level housing talks were underway today in Tobago. Division of Housing, Settlements and Public Utilities Secretary Ricky Jofield met with a delegation from the Ministry of Housing this afternoon. The group includes Minister David Lee, Senator Anil Roberts, and Permanent Secretary Shanmati Singh Ensang. THA Finance Secretary Petalan Roberts was also present for discussions. The primary goal is to strengthen ties between the THA and the central government. Officials are focusing on sustainable housing solutions for residents across the island. The team headed to the Courland Infrastructure Development Project, touring the site to assess progress on local community improvements. This visit marks a joint effort to speed up housing delivery in Tobago. Both teams say these talks set the stage for long-term project success. We will continue to monitor the progress of these infrastructural developments. The weather report when we return. Stay with us.
The Caribbean is more than just a place. It's a spirit, resilient, vibrant, and full of possibility. Rooted in connection, driven by community. It's who we are at the heart of everything we do. For over 150 years, we've been right here, invested in the Caribbean, its people, and its progress. And today, we're going even further. Liberty Business, rooted in the Caribbean, committed to you.
Tobago, it's Carnival. The Vibe, the event space formerly known as Shade. For them called Tobago. Said, let's celebrate Carnival. Bring your coolers every Friday and Saturday, starting from Friday the 30th of January till Carnival week, and pay $50 at the door with your cooler all night. No ice, no chaser allowed. Top DJ and artists passing through every Friday and Saturday. To pre-book your cabanas, call 369-6414 and 394-3612 or email iwamg@gmail.com. And this promotion is going on until Easter. Gates open at 9 p.m. It's rum, it's bacchanal. Bring your coolers and come.
Been down this road before. All that left is rum and bacchanal. This is Carnival.
Coming up, another show-stopping performance from the Republic Bank Exeter Steel Orchestra as Antigua and Barbuda got ready for its own fiesta of color and energy. New ideas for Tobago tourism delivered at the Youth Congress. This highly rated property fits in perfectly with the vacation offerings of St. Kitts and Nevis, where the future of travel was laid out. It's all next on this station.
Now for a look at the weather update from the TNT Met office. Tonight will be partly cloudy with breezy spells and showers over a few areas across Trinidad, Tobago, and the remainder of the Lesser Antilles. Tomorrow will be generally sunny, hazy, and breezy with the likelihood of brisk isolated showers. Nighttime will be generally fair apart from the odd isolated shower. Gusty winds are possible near showers, and a relatively mild concentration of Saharan dust remain present. Sensitive persons are advised to take the necessary precautions. Tonight's minimum temperature is expected to be 22 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 24 degrees Celsius at Crown Point. Tomorrow's maximum temperature is forecast to reach 32 degrees Celsius at Piarco and 30 degrees Celsius at Crown Point, with heat indices climbing to around 37 degrees Celsius in Piarco and 33 degrees Celsius in Crown Point. Seas will be rough with waves between 3 to 3.5 meters in open waters and below 1 to 1.5 meters, occasionally choppy in sheltered areas. A hazardous seas alert yellow level remains in effect, and mariners are advised to exercise caution. Sunrise tomorrow is at 6:18 and the sunset is at 6:16. And that's all the time we have for tonight's Tobago Updates news. Have a great night, but before we go, let's recap the headlines. Is press freedom under fire? The government's energy stewardship questioned, and 2 new divisions already opened for business.